Well, joining us now on the show is Glyn Potts, who's a head teacher at Newnham Roman Catholic College in Oldham. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, how is your school preparing at this moment, at this really critical time?
I mean, we're doing everything we can to make sure that the school remains open, because that has to be the priority. Young people need the safety and the education that we provide, but also they need the hope that we can all get through this. Listening to the last interview, I can understand it is a balancing act, but schools are resilient places with staff who do fantastic work, and we've got to keep fighting to make sure they remain open to do their best by the children that we serve.
What would you say, Mr. Potts, to colleagues who are teachers at your school, elsewhere, who think it's not right that they should come in again in the new year, that they're going to stay at home? Because if they decide that, then whatever the government does, we can't open the schools.
I think those anxieties are natural. And the teaching population, and not just the teachers, the support staff in schools, have put those anxieties to the side to come in to serve the young people. I understand the rhetoric around this is changing with the Omicron virus strain, and we've got to try and mitigate those risks. Rather than us talking about opening up or locking down, let's talk about what else we can do to mitigate those risks. It's interesting that the department are asking for retired teachers to come back into the profession in a short-term basis. Perhaps my colleagues in Ofsted would prefer to do that firstly.
And on that same point, I mean, what do you think then we can do? Because it does seem we're getting into a kind of perpetual lockdown mentality. What are the other possible measures we could do to mitigate this?
Well, I think we know all about ventilation and we know all about filters, but not every school has those opportunities. If we know we're going to be facing this into Easter and if not beyond, why not invest in those systems that mean that schools can have safer, cleaner air circulation around the building? Let's also talk about the fact that masks have been removed from the classroom, and I understand that they're not popular. But if this means we can stop and slow the spread of the virus and continue to keep schools open, then surely masks in classrooms are a minor adjustment to the long-term goal. I think we have to be clear on the objective. And for me, it's remaining open, making sure the children can come to school and have an experience that means they can still enjoy their youth to get their youth at the moment.
Mr. Potts, I've got 3 children of school age or university age. I personally think the locking down of schools and universities has been disastrous for young people, despite the efforts of some educationalists to mitigate the impact. As a head teacher, what do you think?
I understand why we locked down. I'm not here to make a decision on whether it was right or wrong. I think it created far more complex issues in the education system. If you look at the Department for Education report 3 days ago, even they are saying that their catch-up programme is likely to be inadequate. So we have to ask ourselves, if we did that to protect the NHS, are we still doing that now? And if we still are, what are we going to do to get back on track? These young people have faced this with great maturity and with humility. We need to acknowledge that they are still facing these difficulties with humility and responsibility. Let's find a way to make sure we can work through this.